Alright guys, my name's Josh.
My name's Lombax.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Sound Booth Podcast with special guest Tony Blade this week.
Woo! Tony Blade.
Thank you for
Thanks
joining
for
us,
joining
bro.
us, man.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, man, of course. So I just want to start with how I heard about Tony a few years ago. I think it was like 2018 at some point when you were working with Austin Sharp, back when you were rapping.
Okay.
Yeah, so Austin is how I heard about you back when you were doing your like Freestyle Fridays, bro, like on Instagram and stuff, and you were on the rooftop.
Damn.
That's how I heard about you. Yeah.
That's old, man.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
crazy.
But it was good, and I followed you because like the rapping was good. It was good rapping.
Yeah, that was like back when I was like rapping. We were trying to just get like cypher. Like, man, that was some old days. I was back when I first moved out to LA too. So
That's what I'm saying.
like,
That was
vibe.
that 2017? 2018.
That was 2018.
Yeah.
2018.
It's like, oh, cool, kid raps, like, and me and Austin were making stuff at the time, and I was like, dang, man, we gotta get him on some of our tracks, and now you've totally switched it up, went to school out there,
Yeah.
and you're doing the engineering thing full time, got your own studio.
Yeah, completely switched lanes. Yeah, it's like crazy because I was like rapping and then I just like realized I just like twisting the buttons, bro. That's what happened. But no, yeah, I know Austin. We used to, cause basically it was like I was working at Red Robin and then he was working at Chili's.
Yeah,
And then
I got him that job.
I would go on my break to Chili's to go try and smash as many beers as I can at the
Oh my
bar
God.
before I go back to work. And then
Oh, on
Mark-
Cochran.
He's a cool guy. Good people.
Yeah, Austin's cool, man. We want to get him on the podcast actually soon.
Yeah, Tony, real quick, you said you're located now in LA. I guess maybe what part of LA?
I reside in my place of work. Is like I'm actually in the heart of Hollywood. I'm like right next to Melrose, right next to Sunset Boulevard.
Okay.
The studio is actually 2 minutes from Sunset Boulevard, right next to the Walk of Fame.
Nice.
So I like that's where my studio is. That's where I like, reside in my place of work. I actually live in like Van Nuys, which is like 20 minutes away, but Hollywood's where it's at. Hollywood's what's popular.
What was the name of your studio?
It's just Blade Studios. Is what it's called. It's in a building. It's like time. It's like I'm basically like I work out of a studio compound. There's like 30 studios in this building, and so everybody is their own separate entity. Everybody has their own room. Everybody does their own thing, and so I have a room inside the compound, and I run that out of I run my studio out of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super nice, and then you do that, you mix for clients obviously, and then you also do stuff in a bigger studio, right?
It really depends on like who it is. So basically, like my gig is like I'm a recording, mixing, and mastering engineer. So I specialize in vocal production. I specialize in just like touching up and finalizing records for export and like shipping off to DSPs and stuff.
Okay.
But when I'm not here at my home base, it's I get hired out to do like sessions for other people and bigger people all the time. And so usually they'll like my space is kind of like an intimate kind of a session room where it's like it holds like 2 people comfortably, 3 people max. But when we start doing like the bigger sessions where like people bring their entourages and need like camera stuff and all that kind of good stuff, we go to like bigger studios in North Hollywood and rent out the space. And like usually I'll just go run the facility for them.
Okay. So you're not doing renting it out, they are.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm pretty much in my own. I'm my own entity. I just kind of like float around.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I know like how to run rooms.
Right.
So basically, it's like I get called. It's like, oh hey man, like we got a session over here at NRG, and we need to run a Neve board. Can you run the Neve board? Like yeah, bro, I got you. And I pull up.
Okay.
Work the Neve board, and then everything is good.
Got you,
man. When did you first get into music?
Like making music?
Yeah, making
rapping
music
stuff, I guess, back in the day.
Basically, how I got into music is it's a funny story. I was failing out of Spanish class, and my Spanish teacher was in drama, so like she helped oversee like the drama department, and so she needed guys to join drama. So she cut me a deal. She was like, "Yo, you're really adamant in class. you seem like you could be good in drama. I'll
Okay.
give you extra credit if you join the musical. And so, like, I was just rugby at the time. I was like running. I was doing like that kind of stuff and like doing sports. But like, I really needed to just pass Spanish. So I was like, all right, for sure. So I go over and I start doing theater. But I was like, they made me sing, and so like they were like, oh yeah, sing for us. And so I was like singing, and then like I was kind of like, I wasn't the best singer, but I was kind of better than some of the other guys that were there. So they were like, all right, for sure, you're the lead role. For sure, get
Oh
it.
wow.
And I was just, damn. So I was doing the lead roles, but then I really realized that like I really liked singing and like that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And it was like the music behind it. And I was like, all right, cool. So for a while, I thought I was gonna go pursue musical theater. But then, after a while, like I was talking to Josh because me and Josh were in theater together, and then he was like, hey, bro, like why are you trying to sing other people's songs for the rest of your life? You should go sing your own songs. Like, screw all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Josh took me to my first
Good friend.
studio, and he was like, hey, bro, like come up here with me, like start rapping with me. And so he brought me to my first studio out in Gilroy with this guy named Sam Curtis.
Okay.
Shout out Sam Curtis. So that was my first studio session. I started doing rap over there, and then I was like rapping and doing that kind of stuff. I did a couple shows in Morgan Hill area,
Mm-hmm.
and then once I kind of like got a little bit of traction,
Right.
I was like, all right, for sure, I'm gonna move out to LA. And then very much I started coming out to LA, and I started rapping out here. I started doing the ciphers and started doing that stuff while I was going to school for engineering.
Hmm.
Right.
And then basically once I was doing that, I realized that like, yo, I like playing with flangers more than I like writing lyrics.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just pretty much how it came down.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just how your head works. That's
Yeah.
what you're more interested in.
Yeah.
And it's a grind, man. Like mixing and mastering people's stuff is. I mean, remember
it's a
I
lot.
sent you that stuff like whatever a few weeks ago. That thing I was
Yeah.
sent. You're like, that.
Dude, yeah. Sometimes people send you stuff, and it's like I try to keep a little disclaimer in there, just being like, "Hey, bro, like just know, like whatever you put in is what you get out. Like if you're giving me a turd, you're just gonna get a polished turd. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like what it comes down to. But as long as you're like, I always see is in terms of mixing, it's all about the intention behind the record. As long as you're enhancing the intention, then you're doing your job correctly. Because it's like when, let's say like if somebody's doing like a singing thing or like a run, it's like if you can understand the intention of that to not be in front and it's supposed to be more of like a background, kind of like an arethial, like let me put some verb on it. And if that's the intention behind it, as long as you're putting that where it's intended, they're going to 9 out of 10 times say like, yo, bro, you sauced that. And it's like, it's all about reading the song and how they are. It's like, it's kind of like mind reading. Like you got to like look at what they have given you, especially when it's dry stems, and you have to look at that and be like, decipher, okay, cool, like this is what this artist was thinking and how can I paint that picture better for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of it is like you listen to the reference, you're like, okay, this is what they reference, this is what they want to sound like, and how can I like marry these two together? Because sometimes they'll send you like a Drake song and you're like, dude, you don't even sound like Drake, you're not even in the same world. But then they're like, yeah, but bro, just look at the effects. And you have to like think like, okay, cool, like Drake does his effects like this, how can I marry Drake's effects to their vocal?
Good. I'm liking that you're at least really taking in consideration of
It's-
what the wishes, the needs, and being able to kind of shoot that back out and them being like stoked about it. That's not easy. So
Yeah, it's
not at the level you're doing it either.
Yeah.
With some of the people that I don't know if we could talk about the names. I forget if you put like those guys on your story and stuff, like the big guys that you've been in rooms with, but I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to be able to work with a lot of the people that I've been able to work with. It's kind of like you kind of get the hang of it after a while. Like, I mean, straight mostly for rappers, it's like you kind of realize that like, oh yeah, certain effects really cater to this and other effects really cater to that. So it's kind of just like once you kind of get the hang of it, it's like drivers and telephones work really good for rap libs, but then like flangers and modulation work, and like delay throws and reverb throws work really fucking amazing pardon my language, but like really amazing for singers and stuff like that. Like if a singer's doing a run, you're gonna put a verb throw off the end of that. But then if a rapper's doing an ad lib, you're gonna put like a drive or more of like a telephone effect on his ad libs. So it's like
Right.
just knowing that off rip, and you're just kind of like you get the feel of it. Like you kind of get like it's just like it becomes like clockwork.
What works real quick.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a lot of trial. It's a lot of trial and error.
Oh, I'd show you the stuff I made 2 years ago, bro, compared to like how the stuff I make now. Because I have a friend who lives in West Hollywood. His name's Peyton,
Okay.
and he does. I've told you about him. He works at a studio down there too, and he went to school for like the engineering and all that stuff. And I was sitting in Tortilla House right here off Cochrane,
Yeah.
Morgan Hill. And I was FaceTiming him because I was like 6 months into Ableton, right? A couple years ago. And he's all, bro, like, okay, type in EQ8, like, this is where you want, like, your low end to be and your high end to be and all that stuff. And then now, like, you start getting into cutting instead of boosting. And you learn those basic techniques. And he's like, okay, do you know what a saturator is?
Yep.
Do you know what a compressor is? And I'm like, no, bro, I have no idea. But I didn't know how to use them. And like I've been teaching you, I didn't know how to use them until I started using them. Like somebody can tell you, like, cut here, boost here, but until you hear it for yourself and you know what you want it to sound like, you're not going to know what to do.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of trial and error.
100%. I'll be straight. It took me almost a year to figure out how a compressor really works.
Right.
Like
And what gain reduction really.
like I didn't really realize what a compressor does or like what the purpose of a compressor is for like almost a year. Like I would always just be like, dude, I don't know how to use a compressor. My homies would try to explain it, it just wasn't clicking. And then just like one day, I don't know what, but it just kind of like clicked, and I was like, oh yeah, like that is. I mean, like it didn't click one day. It just kind of like more you get a better understanding, and the more you can hear it, like you start hear like your ears get more trained, and you can like hear the transients getting snapped down. You hear like, oh damn, like that's like it feels like choked, so I should lessen up on the, you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. And like it's all ear training, really.
Learn all that stuff and then applying it and you're doing it.
Yep.
Cool. It's kind of like with an instrument. Like I didn't get my ear to be able to like hear something and play over it on guitar until like I'm like 21 or 22, and I've been playing for like 5 years at that point.
100%.
But like getting the ear down to, oh, let me jump on this, let's play something on this, let me solo over this, like that all comes with time and experience.
100%.
And that kind of goes back into like what I was saying earlier before we started. Like a lot of these kids want to jump into music because it's cool and they think it's a cool thing to do, and they see the lifestyle and the Gucci and the Prada and the cars, and like that's what they're going after. But there's no longevity in those things. Like it's not gonna last if that's what you do.
100%.
If you love it, if you're happy, if there's money or not, because you're gonna
100%.
find time to do it and you enjoy it.
100%. Also, it's like when it comes to music, I feel like people don't understand the amount of free hours you have to do. Like I remember I used to do like 15-hour days for almost like a year and a half straight every single day for no pay, like zero pay. You know what I mean? Like I low-key went into like debt a little bit because I was trying to like grind so hard. Now everything's cool, everything's Gucci, like revenue is being made, and it's like I'm able to charge what I want to charge. But it's like back in the day, I remember I was engineering like till my eyes felt like they were bleeding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm being serious. And it's like if you don't have that kind of like desire and passion for it, I feel like it's like, yo man, like you're never gonna really make an impact that you anticipate you want to make. Because it's like even these cats that look like they're getting that one, like they got that one song that popped off and they really like they're blowing up. Like I know cats that have that one TikTok song, like one hit wonders and stuff. Like I got homies that are one hit wonders, and I'm like, yo, even then, it's like I've seen the amount of work they had to do before they even got that one hit wonder. Like I remember back when I was like, yeah man, you used to have like 4,000 followers. Now you have like upwards towards 500,000 all in a year. Yeah. And it's like, yo man, like it's crazy to see the growth, but then it's like I saw the hours and like all the stuff they had to do over and over and over and being consistent just to even get that one record. And then once they get that one record, the label takes over, and then the label scoops out all the rest of his catalog and keeps that one song. So when you go onto his page, it's like there's one song, but it's like, nah bro, there was like 20 other songs before that. But like when the audience finally gets there and the audience is finally looking, they only see that one song. And so they think he's a one-hit wonder, but it's like, nah man, this guy was really grinding in the streets for like like 6 to 8 to like 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying? Like before he even got the chance to even be looked at.
Yeah.
Or even his sound to, or even like a thing too was like his sound to be culturally accepted. Like there's a lot of times where it's like you listen to somebody and you're like, yo man, like your music is amazing, but it's like it's just not what's popping right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people like rap and like that kind of stuff is popping right now, but like that smooth like neo soul R&B stuff isn't hot right now. But like I got homies who make amazing R&B records like that. But it's like that doesn't mean that even though today we're rap driven, like tomorrow, like we're already moving, like rap trap is already being like pushed out and we're already moving to the new. Like I'm hearing more like everything is more melodic, everything has harmonies, everything is like pop driven, like the way vocals are mixed these days and like all that kind of stuff. Here I'm hearing the sonics, I'm like, yo, this is all pop driven. So it's like we're definitely taking a shift into the now. Like we're no longer like, even though like Lil Uzi's and all them are like fire and it's like they have that longevity, they've still been in the game, they are still relevant. It's like, yo, we're still turning tides, like we're moving back into like a different sound and soundscape into music where it's like, yo, that 80s, I'm be straight, a lot of the stuff that I've been recording as of like recent has been inspired by the 80s because of that Weeknd album.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like we're like all the stuff that I've been doing like as of recent with a lot of the people that like are kind of up there is all R&B and like 80s pop driven because of that album. And it's like I really think that same with Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa's entire album is like that 80s pop driven and everybody's like listening to it and inspired by it. Like I would not be completely like shocked if like the next year or so is just completely 80s driven and we just like stop doing rap like that.
Tame Impala too. Super like
dude,
that.
yeah, literally. I got a homie who literally made a song like 2 days ago who was like completely inspired by Tame Impala, and he was like, "Bro, all I want to do today is like I want you to listen to Tame Impala front to back, and I just want to sound like that." And that's what we did that day. And it's like more and more that I'm starting to get people coming in. It's like less is rap and more is like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But at least there's more substance in that too.
True.
There's melodies and it's not, you know, obviously rap is cool, but it's kind of like that bridging of the gap between rap and melodic stuff. Like that's where Post Malone, perfect example of that.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of melody in that.
100%. And what was it? I'm a firm believer. It's like it's like when I look at just like music as like a whole, it's like I definitely think we are taking a turn, but I also personally like R&B and pop music better, and I mix that way better. So a lot of the people that hear my stuff, they come and I retain a lot more of those kind of clients because of the soundscape. Because when I was coming up, my internship, I was working at a house, and basically the house was it was a songwriting house. So that's all we did there was songwrite for like Rihanna and songwrite for Post and songwrite for Dua Lipa. That's all we were doing. So that's all we did is like we would come in, they would produce the record, write the song. I would be engineering the songwriters, and then they would pitch it in hopes that it would get picked up. And that was pretty much like how it would work. And then that was like I didn't really work with like artists per se, but I was working with like the people behind the scenes that make those large big records. And so that was pretty much how I kind of like got in. And but then because I was working with them, a lot of the engineers that were on that roster of that house and that team that I was on, like I was the young cat in the game. Like they're like, "Oh bro, you're like 20, bro." Like everybody in the house was like 27 to 30. They've already been established.
Yeah.
They've already been in the game and like they're all plaqued up. And so I was like the new kid on the block, but like I was working at a capacity. So when I got to that house, I didn't realize that the capacity that they're working at was like top tier. I thought that was normal. So it was kind of like I got into this house and I was like, yo, I got to figure out how to sound as good or better as them and work at a workflow as fast or better than them. But I didn't realize that the workflow that they were working at was like faster than the average, like way faster than the average. Like it was getting to a point where it's like, yo, if the guy walks out the booth and the song doesn't sound mixed and ready to print, then it's like you're slow. Like you're literally mixing on the fly. That's how it happens. And that's how I was watching them do it. Like as these guys are in between takes and like Like, let's say, like, he's like in between a take or, like, breathing, or he's like, yo, man, like, cut the thing right quick. I'm, like, mixing as I'm going. I'm like, yo, the EQ needs to be here. This delay throw needs to be there. This needs to be there. Telephone already printed, already ready to go. So by the time he's done writing his not even writing, like, by the time he's done, like, spitting his, like, hook and verses and stuff, and he's like, yo, fly the hook or whatever, and he walks out, and it should already be ready for, like, mastering.
And that's how they work.
And that's the speed of, like, how they were working. They were like, I was in a house where it was like they were cutting 5 records a night, like, front to back. I'm being serious. Like, and this is like straight, like, from the jump too. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we have the beats and the lyrics ready. It was like, yo, they made the beat and then they made the lyrics all on the spot. Like, right. All, like, as they were going. And so they made 5 brand new ideas and records a night. And it was I got accustomed to that workflow. So I was thinking, like, if I ain't doing that, then I won't, because I didn't know any better. So it was like, yo, when I saw that, and I was like, yo, that's normal. Like, everybody, like, is cutting this fast. So it's like, I got to be able to cut this fast or I'm never going to make it. And then once I basically got up to that speed, and so, like, I finally was able to feel like, okay, cool, guys. I'm getting up to that speed, guys. Like, I'm almost there. And I was able to start cutting, like, maybe, like, 2 to 3 records a night type of thing. And I was, like, getting up to that speed. And then finally, like, I kind of, like, graduated from that house. I kind of, like, left. And then I started going to other studios and doing other things. And it was kind of like I was like running, and I took a step back, and I was like, whoa, why is everybody so slow? Like, we're doing, like, 1 record a night. Like, what is this? And it was like, it was crazy. It was actually really crazy when I took a step out. And so it was kind of just like, that was kind of like, it really did put me ahead of the curve, because it's like, I would not be able to have the stuff that I, like, basically, like, the room and the stuff that I have now, because it's like, a lot of the stuff that just happened so fast, and I got into an accelerated course that it was like, now everything is just is, you know what I'm saying?
How did you get into that house? Was that, like, part of the school that you were going to, or what?
Nah, it was actually completely, like, it was crazy how I got into that house. It was like, honestly, like, I really do believe God's working behind the scenes to make just, like, things happen for me. I don't know why, but it's like, it's kind of like I had an internship at this studio called 4th Street Recording Studios. They're like Weezer and stuff, like, kind of like record there. It's kind of like, it's like alternative rock, right? The studio. And I remember I was living in Hollywood. They were in Santa Monica. It's like an hour drive. I had to drive an hour every single time I had to go to the studio. And I would do 14-hour days, no pay. And it was like, I was quote unquote learning, but they weren't really teaching me anything. Mm-hmm. So I was really unhappy with the internship. Mm-hmm. And so one day I was kind of like, I was still running sessions out of my apartment, and I was like trying to, like, just make stuff work. And I remember I finally saved up just enough to buy some HS7s. Okay. Which were like, maybe like $400 or $500. Yeah. I saved up like $500. Yeah. So I go over, right, and I'm go to Guitar Center, which is on Sunset Boulevard, and I'm like chewing the guy's ear off, being like, yo, man, should I get these Adams or should I get HS7s? What do you think, man? They're in the same fucking price range. And he's just like, bro, I don't care, bro. Like, you can see the guy in the guy's face. Bro, I don't care. Just buy the speaker and we'll just get it popping, bro. Like, I don't care. I don't get paid enough. To sound
I'm not a sales rep like that.
And so, like, I'm sitting there and I'm chewing this guy's ear off, and there's this guy who low-key kind of changed my life. His name's Josh.
Another Josh.
But his name's Josh. He walked through, and he kind of like was passing by with his fiance, and he was just kind of like, hey, man, like, I see you're, like, trying to buy those speakers. Like, he's kind of like he's like a hustler, like he likes to flip things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he kind of came up to me, and he was like, hey, bro, like, I'll sell you my speakers. I have that exact same pair. I'll sell that to you. Half of what this guy is trying to sell to you. Jeez. And I was like, half. Yeah. All right, say less, bro. Like, where you give me the name, Addy. I don't care, bro. I'll pull up half. If I can save $200, I'm with it. Oh, heck yeah. So he gives me his number, and he hits me up, and so I go over to his house, and then he gives me the speakers, And then he's like, what do you do, bro? And I was like, he followed me on Instagram. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm a recording mix and mastering engineer. Like, I just got out of school. And we're trying to get it popping. He was like, all right, for sure. Like, I'll keep you in mind. And then he hits me up 4 months later, just out of random. He was like, and I was like kind of grinding on Instagram. I was posting a lot to my story.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, and like in my tiny ass little apartment set up on some like tiny speakers and like a really crappy setup. And so like he kind of like hits me up and he's like, hey bro, like listen, we're looking for an engineer who's just hungry and just wants to get it. Like there's we have an internship possibility. And I was doing the internship at the other spot and he told me it was in North Hollywood, which is 20 minutes away. So I was like, dude, of course I'm gonna take this over the hour drive. So I go over to him and he blows me off 7 times.
Wow.
Like I hit him up, I'm like, hey bro, I'm here for the interview, bro. I'm here for the interview. Blows me off. I'm here for the interview. Hey man,
like
sorry,
says nothing, no response.
I'm here for the interview. And then like he finally is like, all right, fine, bro, just pull up here now, time and date. And he sends me the address to this house. Okay. And so I go and I look and I pull up to this house and I'm like looking at it and I'm like, dude, I think this guy's really trying to play games with me. Like this looks like the outside of the house looks really run down, like a full blown trap house.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, what is this? This is a joke. But I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm already here. I already spent the 20 minutes driving out. Might as well just knock on the door. So I knock on the door. And then I walk in. And I'm like, hey, yo, what's good, guys? Like, I'm Tony. I'm the kid on the block. Like, I'm trying to just, like, engineer, bro. Like, that's all I'm trying to do. And, like, I'll do whatever hours I need. Like, it's cool. And then I walk in. They're like, all right, for sure, bro. Like, it's cool. Like, we're looking for somebody like you. Let's get it popping. So they enter me into the house. And the moment you walk into the house, it's like a complete 180 flip. Like the outside looks like a trap house, but the inside is like interior design.
Wow.
And like the first thing you see is a Rihanna plaque for Anti writing the song. Bitch, but I have my money that's just sitting on the wall right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So I walk in, and then I keep walking, and like it's just kind of like a hallway, and then you get to the back, and he opens up one of the back doors, and the back door is like $1 million studio just built into the house.
Jeez.
And you're like, what? Like $10,000 microphone in the booth, huge ass room, like
it's like going through the rabbit hole or something.
And just like what, and then like there's plaques over there. I'm like, what is this? And then like he's like, yeah, bro. So this is the first room. This is kind of like our bigger room, and let's go check out the other room. Like another room. Yeah. So he like goes out, and then we go to the other. It's like literally like. The doors kind of face like this, so there's like one door and then there's like another door. Right. So he closes that door, you go to the other door, opens it up, and there's another like $500,000 studio in there. And then it's like the black room versus the blue room. And then there's like, and he's like, yeah. And then there's 2 other rooms inside the house, but those are kind of like already previously rented out. We don't really go over there, but like, yeah, there's like rooms over there, and they're like nice facilities. I'm sitting here like, yo, what did I just get myself into? Yeah. And so like, they basically were like, for sure. So I'm like sitting there like, whoa, okay, for sure. Like, this is crazy. And then they introduced me to my guy Ash Miner, and they're like, yo man, so like we got this new cat. He's gonna be new to the camp. You're new to the camp. We're just gonna pair you together, and you guys are just gonna make as many records as you can. So make us this year's hot summer hit, and we'll get back to you. And so we just got put in a room together, and then me and Ash were kind of just riding it out. We did sessions day after day, 15-hour days, and then like Ash kind of had some clout then, so he would bring me to like these sessions with him, with like all-star engineers, because he came out. He was doing the 4, and so he got off the 4. He had a lot of heat. He was
that show.
I have a lot of heat. Like he was like a finalist on the 4. Like a lot of people were trying to sign him, and then he just kind of low broed me, and he was like, hey bro, like let's go to this session, let's go to that session. And, like, I'm going to take you to all these rooms that I got. Like, I'm lucky, like, because of the clout off of him, he was like, he used to bring me to all these rooms and be like, hey, bro, like, this is my little homie, Tony. He's trying to engineer. He's my engineer. Even though you're running the session, he's going to be my main engineer. So teach him what you know. Right. And so I got streamlined to working with all these, like, multi-platinum, like, all-star engineers because of him just, like, you know, just being like, hey, bro, like, little bro, like, come through. And so I got to watch these workflows, like gifted engineers. And so, like, that's how I kind of got in and how I got to peek behind how records actually get made, which doesn't happen. Like, this is, like, engineers that I went to school with are still trying to find a student to
Right.
even work here.
Yeah. And you met
And
this
it's
dude
like,
at Guitar Center.
I literally don't know how, but like I just got blessed to be put in the right spot at the right time,
Yeah.
and it's like that house gave me the ability to engineer at the capacity that I'm engineering at, and it's like now it's like that house literally made me who I am.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
That's super cool.
What a story, man. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Never would have expected, especially from the outside of that house.
Yeah. That's
Um,
sick. Rihanna plaque right when you walk in, just casually sitting there.
yeah.
Yeah, the people who manage, so they wrote so the guy who manages that building and that house manages the songwriter and producers that like do a lot of like Rihanna and Chris Brown stuff, and like it's kind of like it's like a song. It's literally a songwriting house. But
That's
it's like
sick.
they'll write a bunch of records and then pitch them to like a bunch of people, and then
Mhm.
like if it gets picked up, it gets picked up. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a numbers game. You're just
Yeah.
pumping them
But
out.
then, yeah, if you get picked up, it's like that's a life changing bag. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you get one hit, bro. Like that will change
That's
your
just
life.
gonna
Because like the
skyrocket
thing
you.
is too is like once you get the first, you know how like everybody talks like the first million's the hardest.
Right. Well, if you make it, then you can do it again.
It's the same concept for records though. The first hit record's the hardest. But
Mhm.
once you get that first hit record, now everybody knows your name and now everybody wants to work with you.
Right.
So it's like now the second and third hit record, it's like not as hard because it's like before you had to scavenge to get all the resources to even make the first hit record.
Right.
But now once you got that first hit record, all the resources now come flooding in.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, yeah, for sure,
They're there.
you just wrote that song, bro. Like, you probably writing some heat. Once you come over to our session,
Yeah.
now you're
Yeah.
working with the people who make the biggest records in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy how that works.
So it's the first hit record's the hardest.
Yeah. That makes
100%.
sense.
Like, that first plaque is the hardest. I don't have any plaques. I don't have. I'm just speaking out of experience from what I've heard from other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not out of personal experience. This is out of what they have told me.
Right.
Mm.
I just want
Exactly.
to put that out there as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, Tony, man. That was an amazing time. I think we are
Yeah. I mean, we
somewhere
could keep.
coming up on.
We could. Yeah. I mean, we could keep talking. We can cut stuff too. Cut here and there.
Okay.
Whatever. We can.
Okay,
we
yeah,
can
yeah,
keep
that's
going.
true.
I did want to ask you. Like
Go
I
ahead.
feel like I remember at some point, sometime recently, like production. Like, do you produce at all?
No. Actually, I don't. I dabbled in it. I
Yeah.
was like, yo, like maybe I'll make a beat for a homie or something. But it kind of just turned into a thing where it was like, again, I just kind of like twisting the knobs, and
Yeah.
it wasn't that I don't like making beats. It
Yeah.
was more of like I was getting frustrated because Logic and Ableton is like it's not my dog.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
You're Pro Tools,
It's
right?
like Pro Tools is my DAW, so
Right.
it's
Pro
like
Tools,
I
okay.
know Pro Tools at the back of my hand, and it's like I know Pro Tools. Like I work very fast in Pro Tools, and then it's like when I have to go, I get frustrated because it's like I know how fast I am in Pro Tools, but then when I move to something else, it's like I'm so slow,
Mm.
and then I get frustrated because it's like, yo, how do I fade this? How
Yeah.
do I, it's just a little like
Yeah.
just
Tiny
Intricacies.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I just get so angry, and then it's like I just get frustrated, and then I'm just like, dude, I don't even. Why am I even making this beat? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it takes time. But in Pro Tools, you can produce. Illmind does it.
it's not the same.
Nah.
It's not the same. Like you have to it doesn't even have a drum machine, bro. Like you
Oh,
can't even,
okay.
like you have like a piano roll, but it's like you can't even like load sounds. Like
Mm.
You can't drop packs?
You have to get an external third-party plugin to be able to even house sounds for you to play it like a MIDI.
Oh wow.
What?
Okay, so it's not producer friendly. It's
Yeah,
mixing
that's
and
it.
mastering friendly.
It does.
So mixing and mastering friendly. Like you can
Okay.
like, dude, I don't even know how people mix and master like outside of Pro Tools because I'm like, yo, like,
Yeah.
but like in Pro Tools it's so easy. But then like when actually Logic does a pretty good job at like
I was gonna say
like,
Logic for
in
sure.
Logic. The reason why I was doing Logic, because I remember I posted a couple times of me working in Logic.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm actually working in Logic. It's because I'm making templates.
Right.
So like I'm making like recording, mixing, and mastering templates for people. And so like I was like I'm still building out the website. It's like I already have everything done. It's like ready to launch. It's just the tutorials, bro. The tutorials take forever.
Yeah.
Mm. All right, everybody. This was episode 5 of the Sound Booth with Tony Blade. Thank you so much for joining. You really dropped some important knowledge about staying in the game, where your head needs to be at, and consistency. So we couldn't appreciate it more, Tony. Yeah, we'll be dropping Tony's links, contact information, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. So, and if anybody's out in LA area,
he's your
John,
guy if
he's
you're
your guy.
serious. All right,
Alright,
man.
guys, have a good one.
Thank
All
you.
right,
You too, man.
Tony. Thank you, man.
Without taking hard stances. I didn't want to start telling people how to mix. I didn't want to start telling people, yo, man, you should mix your vocals like this. I didn't want to say that. I was like, yo, that's not, mixing is subjective. So I was like, how can I come up with a bottom of the barrel, universal thing that I could go over that literally no one can fight me on?
There you go. Basics. That's it. Yeah.
It's like if I'm giving hotkeys, it's like, yo, you can't fight me on that. There's a book that says, and it's like you go to Pro Tools, there's no argument. You know what I'm saying? But it's like if I go and say like, hey man, like you should definitely be mixing your vocals and cutting out 200 hertz around 3 dB. People could be like, no, bro, like for what type of vocal?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for a female vocal, nah, bro, it's probably gonna be up around 350. For a male vocal, it's probably gonna be around like 150. Like it's subjective. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and that's why hotkeys, bro, like save so much time and workload. It's
so much time and work. Exactly. I'm be sure I started. The reason why I kind of have stopped doing them is not because I don't want to do them. It's more of just because I've become too busy to actually upkeep with it. And it's like I'm trying to juggle too many stuff right now. But I know that once I start freeing up and I'm able to like time manage better, because right now like the reason why I had to stop is because I like was doing like a full shift into this room. But like once like this is kind of like settled and I get like a steady workflow going and it's like cool, like I'm more comfortable, I'm not like fighting to get shit set up, and it's more I'm just like, oh, I'm just moving, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like then I'll probably open the conversations back up and be like, yo, I'm probably graduate from talking about stuff that's so safe and start talking about stuff that's a little bit more controversial, like that kind of stuff, and be like, yo, like let's go talk about how we can get delay effects on a saucy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People want to hear about that stuff. And
Exactly.
That's kind of like an avenue like that a lot of people aren't doing. Like me with my guitar, that's my thing, and that's what I'm branding. But there's not a lot of guys that are talking about mixing, mastering, and engineering specifically, and that's all you do. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
you don't hear a lot from those people. Like, obviously, there's Mike Dean and stuff, but they're not talking about it. So if you're the guy who's talking about it, I can only see a market for that.
Yeah, it's a big hole. Nobody's really jumping on. I mean, like,
It's a very
No,
We're
really just
producing, so many
focuses
people
on
are like
that.
it's a very
push music.
it's a very niche community, but also it's like you have to understand that engineering 80% of the time people are doing it out of necessity, not out of passion.
That's true.
People
That's
mix
true.
and master out of necessity. People don't like I haven't met people who engineer solely because they like to engineer. It's a very refined breed of people that like, yo, and when it's like you go to NAMM and you go to like these like convention places and you find, that's where I find like all the homies that really love engineering like that, that's where I find them. But besides NAMM, I have yet to meet someone in LA that like only cares about mixing and mastering and only cares about like that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's the reason why it's like, yo, when you start getting to the upper levels of engineering, the people who really be dude, 80%, like almost like 80% of the Billboard Top 100 is mixed and mastered by like 4 guys.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's literally because it's like once you get the formula and it's like, yo, people like that sound, it's like everybody's gonna send the sound to you because it's like, yo, Jason Joshua mixes like all like so much stuff in the year.
Right.
And it's literally because it's like he's got the formula, people like the sound, it's very consistent, and it's like there's no one else doing it at that capacity.
Right.
So if there's nobody else doing it at that capacity, it's like, yo, for sure, I'm gonna send all my stuff to him.
Yeah. And that's where you're competing to get to, or that's where you're moving towards, is that direction.
But I find that a lot of people in LA, it's like they get into I had to go and interview like 15 guys for the studio. There was only one of them that actually, the guy that was in this room right now, that was like, he was the only one that was like, dude, I'm not trying to do anything else besides engineer. All the rest of them, I was like, it basically, the conversation went like this. Yeah, man, so why are you here? Oh, man, well, I produce, I do this, I'm an artist, I like that, but like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to find a way in. So I'm down to do whatever hours you need me to do so I can get in.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I hear that, I hear, okay, so you're trying to exploit my network in exchange for work because, like, how am I, like, that's unprofessional. Like, how can I expect you to sit in the hot seat and be recording this guy and not try and manipulate the session so that you can get some type of gain from it?
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool. Like, if he's in the booth and he's rapping and all of a sudden, like, you're trying to, like, hey, bro, like, this beat kind of sucks, bro. Like, you should, like, hop on my beat. Like, that's gonna be the mentality of that guy sitting in the hot seat. I don't want that guy.
Just trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool. Like, it's like, yo, if you're in the hot, like, or if they're an artist trying to engineer so they can, like, the entire time, they're not going to engineer that guy as well as they can engineer that guy, because in the entire time he's sitting in the hot seat, he's thinking, man, this guy's trash. I can rap better than this guy.
Yeah. He doesn't care.
Seriously.
Right.
And then it's like the entire time he's not even going to be putting real genuine effort into the song because it's like he doesn't even care for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want people that care.
You want
like,
people that care. You want people that really care. Because it's like the people who really care is the people who really make the records that go platinum.
Yeah. And you can hear the passion too when he's talking like about all this. Like you don't hear a lot of people talk about it this way.
I was gonna say, I can really, you're very genuine in terms of like your.
Yeah, so it's like out of like all those people, like it was like one guy, and I was like, dude, you're the guy, bro. I'm gonna try and take you everywhere with me, bro. He's cool. I like Raul. We're talking about plugins and shit. He's cool.
Cool. That's what engineers talk
I'll
about.
fuck with
Well,
him.
hey, we'll wrap up right now. I mean, obviously, keep talking. We have another one at 2.
Hell yeah.
Plenty of content.
Yeah. This was great, man.
I think those
Such
stories
good
for sure.
stories. Yeah,
We're gonna put the stories in for sure.
People
Like,
love stories.
Dude, yeah.
Like,
I mean, take whatever you guys need. Yeah.
okay, so let's do the little formal outro real quick. You want to do the outro since I did the intro?
Okay.
4, right?
Ready, set. All right, everybody. This was episode 5 of the Sound Booth with Tony Blade. Thank you so much for joining. You had some great knowledge. Everybody who's watching this, just tuning in, be sure to watch this entire one. He really dropped some important knowledge about staying in the game, where your head needs to be at, and consistency. So we couldn't appreciate it more. Tony, thanks again.
Hey man, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for having me. It's been lit. All right.
Man. It was awesome.
You guys
all
have
the
a great one.
knowledge, the story.
Hell yeah. Hit me up if you guys ever need anything. Hit me up if you guys have any other questions. I'll get to it when I can because I'll be fishing through DMs.
Yeah, we'll be talking Tony's, links, contact information, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. So, and if anybody's out in LA area, shoot them a message. If you need some work.
He's your guy if you're serious,
Yep, 100%. All right, my guys. You guys have a good one.
Thank
all
you.
right, peace, Tony. Thank you, man.
Peace.